Hey, good morning and welcome to the Divorce Sanctuary. So I'm just doing a quick question and answer session here. Look back over a period of time. And I will put the questions in the description box as well. So one person is asking about protection, about what they can do to protect themselves. So I think this is physically as well as emotionally and spiritually. With regard to protection, there are places that you can speak to, like Women's Aid and places like that. Their websites are fantastic for information. So it's a great place to look at, and you can block and clear your browsers afterwards. They also show you how to do that. With regard to protection, as in protecting your own energy, and building it up, and this is what part of this group is going to be about, is I'm going to do a video on protection, and I'll put a link to that separately, because you can do things energetically to imagine yourself. And one thing I teach, or I used to teach when I was teaching Reiki, was using a cloak of protection, or getting people to imagine something themselves. So we had all sorts. We had people that put themselves in Zorb balls, and we used to do this. I used to teach this. It's like a game, so you could understand energy. And we used to. Half the group would be at one end of the room, and the other half at the other, and they. It was a bit like what's the time, Mr. Wolf. So it was split into two groups. You had one at the beginning of the room, the front of the room, facing the wall, the window, wherever it was, wherever we were working. And then the other half were at the back of the room. And they would walk very slowly until they could feel, the other person could feel their energy. And then we used to work with things to protect ourselves. So for me, I use a cloak. So I imagine myself putting on a big cloak and pulling over a hood. So we've had all sorts. We had all sorts of people pulling themselves up into tubes, those children's stretchy tubes that they climb through, putting themselves in bubbles, said Zorb ball, all sorts of things, whatever people felt. So that is a brilliant way of protecting your energy. And the other one is when you change your energy. And I will do some stuff on energy. I'll do some other lives or videos on energy and post them in here. But when you change your energy and you're not available for something, you don't get it. So you can change the way you feel about someone, or you can change your thought process around a situation, and it automatically changes the people around you. So that's protection. That's looking at yourself spiritually and energetically protecting yourself. Physically, if you feel that you're under attack, then, or you're being stalked or something like that, you need to be reporting it to the police. Look at the Women's Aid, or there's some other groups as well around that you can look at and see what they suggest and how they go about protecting it. This one was around telephones as well. They're asking about landlines. So another one was, okay, why do I keep checking social media? So social media is, it's been around for a while now, and the only thing I can say is block every way of communicating. So you block them, but you also block them, so you can't see anything and you're not tempted to go looking. There's a pain, there's a hole, something deep within your soul that has been ripped out of you. You were gaslighted, you were trauma bonded, is mainly what's been going on. Is this trauma bonding that happens where you've got lots of different chemicals that are rushing around your body. Oxytocin is a chemical that's released, or hormone that's released, and it's a hormone that's produced in pregnancy, and it stimulates the birth, and it's released when breastfeeding and shortly after the birth. And that hormone is to help a mother and baby bond. And the same hormone is released during sex. It's released when we bond in team building exercises. So think about those sort of things. When we come together and we have something that bonds us with somebody else, a situation in kind, something that we can go into a deeper level of relationship. These, you were bonding to them, they weren't bonding to you. And that is why they walk away. So by checking things like social media and various different accounts, you're re-triggering yourself, you're keeping that going. And by cutting off and doing either grey rock or doing the no contact, it's a way of breaking that and starting to dissolve the invisible ties, the invisible cords that are connected. Taking deep breaths. There's lots of work you can do, and one of them I would highly, highly, highly recommend is if you can, salt baths, whether that's Himalayan salt or Epsom salts. They've got magnesium in them. So just by having a bath, and I know when you come out of these relationships, because you've been so wrapped up in the trauma bonding and the cognitive dissonance that's been going on, you have no self-esteem, no self-worth, and it's more than likely that you can't give yourself any more time than a few minutes to meditate or have a bath or do anything for yourself. And that will get longer and longer and longer as you start to learn to respect yourself, to trust in yourself again, trust in your intuition. And you might get flashbacks. You might get flashbacks of the relationship, of things that are being said, of emotions that are coming up. So this is about keeping away from them, so that you're breaking this tie and it's being severed, and you can then start to build back up your power and start to trust. And this can go on for a while, where you dip back down and start questioning. So I would recommend, if that's the situation, is one, either completely block them on any form of social media, and if you can block them on your phone, block them on your phone, block them on email. If you can't, if you've got children, it's learning the boundaries and boundary setting. And initially that phone call or that email, and I've spoken to quite a few people that years and years and years down the line, because they haven't done that wounding, they haven't focused on the wounding and healed the wound and discovered where it came from and healed that original wound, they still get triggered by those emails and phone calls. So yeah, block everything on social media, and then start to build yourself up, start to build your energy back up. Put something, if you find something where you start and you're questioning, go back to it, whether it's a video or you've seen an article and it's I don't know, 10 ways to discover whether you're the narcissist or they are. Go back and read and understand. If that was the one thing, or as a page in a book, the one thing that you thought, do you know what, that's what I was experiencing, and it isn't me, it is them, because everything is, turn it around. So a friend of mine said this to me. She said, when you get the divorce papers through, turn everything around. So and it was painful reading stuff and then thinking, well, actually that isn't me, that is them talking about themselves. Social media. Why do you keep checking social media? Because you're plugged into them, because they told you that you're amazing, that they told you you're the only person that understood them, they bonded you to them, and then they've walked away and you're in complete confusion. You have no idea what's going on. So it's about untangling the invisible wounds. It's about understanding what's happened and finding those original wounds to heal, so that you can then move forward, and then it'll be easier and it won't be so painful. So when you do get a text message, when you do receive a phone call or an email, you're not shot back. You don't there isn't a pain within you. That's gone. That's healed. So another question is, I feel lonely with him. I feel lonelier with him than I do without him. Again, this is this is due to this bonding, and also they don't commit on an emotional level in any way, although they tell you they do. There is such a loneliness that goes on, and I think it's not having anyone that understands what's happening. And it might be that you're in a relationship and you don't understand what's happening, and you're starting maybe to sort of question what the relationship is about. So loneliness is huge. I mean, it's huge as in the world anyway, but coming out of these relationships feeling so lonely, because it might be that they questioned the people that you relied on. They questioned your friendships and why you were friends with people, why what it was that why you would need to go and talk to other people. They put themselves in a place of power and control within your life, and then they withdraw it, and then they give you the attention and withdraw it and give you the attention. And this is the bonding. This is the cycle of abuse that happens. It's that love bombing stage, and then you go on to the devaluation and the discard and the love bombing, devaluation, discard, love bombing, and you get hooked into this cycle, and you're just trying to get back each time to this place where you were in that place of being the only, that you're receiving this positive energy from them, these positive words, this love from them. And each time they discard you, each time they devalue you, you're desperately trying to get back. And each time they do that and you're desperately trying to get back, you're losing a part of yourself. So this is about understanding that. The loneliness is painful. So it's not just that you've lost everything. You probably don't even know who you were. I described it as being a shell of my former self, because there was absolutely nothing left of me. And the damage it does to your brain as well. So you've got lots of different emotions going on in the relationship, not understanding what's going on, and all of a sudden they reappear with whatever, a bunch of flowers and lots of praise and love, and it really, really, really messes with your brain, and it causes loneliness, because you really don't know who you can trust, and you don't know who to turn to. And it's about finding a tribe, finding people that have been through something very, very similar. Okay, so another question is, okay, so I'm a few days from leaving, or have left, and I received a text message. Saying he loves me, etc., etc., etc. And I keep asking myself, how can he say that after everything? Now, that was actually one of the statements that I actually made myself. Oh my God, how do you think you can come back after everything that's happened? This is a game, okay? And there are no rules, or there are rules that are made up, but you won't be told them. And you're desperate to get back to that place of idealization. That place of being the best person, that love bombing that's been going on. And so they've caught you and they've taken you round and round and round. So this is either one of their discards and you've actually escaped a few days out, and they're playing with you, and they are just to see what control they've got over you, just to see how much power they've still got over you. And it is a game. It's a game that they play. And unless the relationship that they're in, or that they've been lining up, is about to collapse and not going to work for them, it is a game where they just want to see what power it is. It might be that they just want to keep you in the background. So you've gone from number one source of supply to number two or number three source of supply. So number one being the top, the one that they can get a constant, they're in constant contact with, and the next ones are lower sources as they go down. And these can be from, a good source of supply is somebody who gives them lots of attention. So they're just testing the water. So just to see that if this doesn't work out after a few days, or a few weeks, or a few months, or a few years, whether they can come back. It's about power, how much power they've still got over you, what control, what would you give up? What are you prepared to do for them to come back? So if they turned back up on your doorstep now, how much more of yourself can you give up for them? And it's only until they go again, or they play their game or discard you in some other way. So this is so these tricks, this is called hoovering. It's trying to hoover you back up again. It might just be a game where they just, you know, they're a bit bored. Maybe their new source of supply isn't fully hooked up, or they're not getting as much because it is quite a new relationship. Maybe they're not seeing them as much and they're just filling gaps in between. It might be that they're not quite sure whether this is going to work out and they want to have a backup plan. Can they move back in again? Or you'll never know, but it is part of a game, and it's all about power and control, and it's all about seeing what control they still have, what power they still have, and how much more of yourself would you give up? What would you put up with? Would you put up with them having affairs and you're still married to them or still in a relationship with them? Would you say, look, okay, I understand you need more from this relationship. You carry on doing what you're doing. Just to have you in my life is enough. You know, that's what they're just seeing, how much they can get out of you. And those stronger boundaries that they've seen, because they seem to have these beacons, they seem to have something within them that they can it's like a radar. They can tell these wounds, they recognize these wounds because they have very similar wounds in themselves. So, and it's about how much will you give, how much more will you give of yourself for me? How much more will you do for me? How much more can I suck out of you if there's any little left? Of course, if there's nothing left, then this is only a game for them, just to see. There's just a bit of attention. Will you reply? Won't you reply? So again, no contact. Deleting them from everything, closing down social media, whether that's you come off social media for a period of time so you can't see anything. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so protection, there's spiritually and emotionally, and there's other things you can do. Check out maybe Women's Aid, and if they're harassing you on the phone, you can block it on a mobile. The question, one of the part of the question around protection was about a landline telephone number. Yeah, why do I keep checking social media? And it's because of these bondings, because of these invisible chains, invisible ties that still link you, that you're still bonded. So that needs working on. Feeling so lonely in a relationship, feeling lonelier in a relationship than out of a relationship. Again, it's that punishment that goes on, or that them questioning why you're friends with people or why you're speaking to people when that they should be the ones that, and they're in control of everything and every element of your life. And the last one is about the gameplay. So there's just a couple of questions. I will be posting more each week, and please feel free to message me, send me a message, or drop me an email. Sending you loads of love.